And for more now, we speak to Awal Alo, a senior lecturer in law at Kiel University, who nominated Abiy Ahmed for the Nobel Peace Prize, which then, of course, he went on to receive. He joins us live via Skype. Sir, thank you so much for joining us here on Al Jazeera. A very tense situation. The deadline has expired. It's difficult to get information out of Tigray right now because of a media blackout, but I suppose some kind of fighting is going to be inevitable. What do you fear for the next few hours and days?
Well, I think my concern is primarily for the civilian population, who usually in this kind of situation pay the ultimate price. Already there are reports of civilian massacres. The Ethiopian Human Rights Commission says some 600 people have been massacred in a town called Maikadra. We have some 40,000 civilians who fled across to the border into Sudan. And obviously, there are far more individuals who are suffering as a result of the war, who couldn't make it across the border, who, we may not know what they are going through. So, primarily it is the civilians who are facing the prospect of some serious atrocity crimes that is concerning.
And thousands of civilians that are making their way to Sudan right now, a country that is itself fragile. So this really has potential to destabilize the region. What do you think should be the better solution? An African-only solution? We're seeing leaders of Mozambique, Liberia and South Africa heading for Addis Ababa. Or do you think it should be a more widely international one?
Well, if an African solution could be found for an African problem, because these challenges are very specific and culturally specific to these regions and to these societies, that's a good thing. But the problem is the Prime Minister rejected every offer or mediation by independent states and also by international organizations. And that, I think, makes it imperative for the rest of the international community as well to intervene and put pressure on the Ethiopian government to accept the prospect of mediation. The South African government, other governments in the region, particularly South African president as the chair of the African Union, offered to send a mediation. I think they are now on their way, but the Ethiopian government came out and said, we have not accepted to negotiate and settle this dispute but through a peaceful means. And the African countries who were in the Security Council were yesterday basically pushing the Security Council not to intervene in the situation. So if an African solution could be found, that's a good thing, and I think it needs to be given priority. But when you have a situation where civilians are threatened to help themselves, and you have massacres on the ground and significant levels of humanitarian crisis, and I think it's important for the international community to discharge this responsibility to protect civilian population.
And so just one final quick question. You did nominate Abiy Ahmed, the Prime Minister, for a Nobel Peace Prize. What do you make of that nomination now?
I think it is extremely disappointing to see a prime minister who, at the beginning of his tenure, talked about peace and love and reconciliation and healing, seems to understand the kind of structural complexities and uncertainties that the country faced. Now, that very person who talked so much about progressive values and transforming Ethiopia not only embrace war as an instrument of solving policy disagreements or ideological disagreements, but also reject international mediation in the face of such significant humanitarian crisis. I think that is disappointing, and if I knew that was to be the case, certainly I would not have nominated the Prime Minister.
Awal, senior lecturer in law from Kiel University. Sir, thank you for sharing your views with us.
Thank you.